Okay, here we go. Let's talk a little Jesus Luzardo. He's been a big name pitcher on the trade market this offseason. Teams could always use starting pitching, and I've put together a list of teams that I think would be the best fit based off of team need, competitiveness, and having prospects to be able to deal back to the Marlins in a trade. Now, why would the Marlins want to trade Jesus Luzardo? Well, you just brought in a new GM coming over from the Rays, and hey, the Rays way, they like to try and sell high on guys, and Jesus Luzardo, he has 3 years left of control, and he's had a pretty good couple of years the last couple of years. He came off the rails with the Oakland A's there at the end. He got shipped to the Marlins, and he got himself back on track. And look at the numbers that he's been able to put up here. Last year, 32 starts, a 3.58 ERA, 3.55 on the FIP, over 10 strikeouts per nine, under 3 walks per nine, right around a home run per nine, really good velocity. Jesus Luzardo, a lefty like this in your rotation will absolutely make you better. Now, before I do get on to the trades, let's just go over his trade value real quick. Okay, so as you can see here, you have a median surplus value right around $63 million. It could go as low as $50 million or as high as $76 million. Now, remember, like I said, it wasn't too long ago where he came off the rails with the Oakland A's, so maybe that could hold back his value to teams, possibly, or you could go as high as $76 million, where, again, everyone wants starting pitching, and Jesus Luzardo is very good, so the market could definitely bump that up. But with Jesus Luzardo, like I mentioned, you have 3 years of control. He's only getting paid right around $6 million projected for next year. So when you're putting up the numbers that he's putting up, and he's not really costing all that much, and he has the years of control, that is what is creating a very high value. So let's get to the trades. How about Jesus Luzardo on the New York Yankees? As a Red Sox fan, I would absolutely hate this, but if they landed him, my goodness, what an addition that would be. You just added an amazing bat in Juan Soto this offseason, and then you add a pitcher like him to the rotation. My goodness, that would just be nasty. But the rotation as of right now, you got Cole, Rodon, Schmidt, Cortez, and then Beater is at the number 5 according to Fangraphs. Now, Rodon had a miserable year last year, a ton of injuries, up and down. Hopefully a better year from him. Cortez had some injuries last year. Schmidt took a step forward, but how much more of a step forward will he take? We're not sure. So there definitely could be an argument here for the Yankees to add someone like Jesus Luzardo, and especially considering how cheap he is too, that the Yankees won't have to go out there and break the bank like how much it would cost for Blake Snell. Jesus Luzardo, yeah, he would cost prospects, but salary-wise would definitely be a nice addition to the payroll. As for the prospects, so the deal that I came up with here is it is going to take the number 1 prospect in the Yankee system, Spencer Jones. I could see a lot of Yankee fans groaning at that. But the one advantage the Yankees do have is a shortstop in Oswald Peraza. Now, the Marlins, they don't really have a shortstop, right now, and not really a great one for the future. And Oswald Peraza, he could use a place to play, just like with Chris Sale, Vaughn Grissom, right? Vaughn Grissom getting a chance to play with the Red Sox. Maybe same thing with Peraza, gets an opportunity to have an everyday role with the Marlins. Then I've added a couple other pieces in Agustin Ramirez, a catcher in their system, definitely a pretty good hitter as well. Still needs to come along with the catching a little bit, has a good arm, but there is still room for improvement there. The Marlins don't really have like a bona fide catcher for the future, so maybe that could be someone. And then a third baseman in Tyler Hardman, more of a power hitting corner guy. So with this package, you're looking right around even in terms of value going back to the Yankees and value going back to the Marlins. And sure, you could always swap guys out. And just a quick rundown for these prospect rankings. Like I said, Spencer Jones at number 1. You got Tyler Hardman at number 15. And you got Agustin Ramirez at number 22 on MLB Pipeline. Let's move on to the next team. How about Jesus Luzardo to the Chicago Cubs? Well, the Cubs just landed Shota Imanaga, but he's going to be more of a mid-rotation guy at this point. I feel like the Marlins could maybe use something else atop this rotation. Sure, I love Justin Steele at the top there. A great year for him last year. But Jameson Taillon at the number 2, I don't know. He had a bit of a dud of a season last year. I feel like, man, if you had Luzardo in this mix, oof, that would be a really good rotation. Now, you got a lot of lefties if you add Luzardo. You'd have Steele, Luzardo, Imanaga, you got Wicks. That's definitely a lot of lefties, but hey, whatever. Good pitching is good pitching at the end of the day. If you had a rotation of Steele, Luzardo, Imanaga at the 3, Tyone more of a number 4, Hendricks or Wicks at the number 5, that's a pretty good-looking rotation, if you ask me. And the Cubs do have some bats in their system that they could deal. I mentioned with the Yankee trade, the Marlins don't have, really many options when it comes to shortstop, but the Marlins also don't have a lot of good bats in their system. They have a lot of good pitching in their system, but they could use some more bats, and the Cubs definitely have some bats. If you go take a look at the trade that I put together, I put Christopher Morel in this deal. That would be a nice piece for them to upgrade in the outfield. A first baseman in Matt Mervis. Let's say the Cubs went out there, maybe signed Rhys Hoskins. That could make someone like Matt Mervis expendable, and then a good prospect in Kevin Alcantara, where they did get him a little while ago from the Yankees. Maybe they could flip him to the Marlins. And again, another catcher here in Moises Ballesteros. That's a catcher where with the Cubs, you already have Miguel Amaya, so maybe someone like him in their system could be expendable. Now, with the Cubs, would they want to give up, some good pieces like this, like Alcantara? I don't know. You could always swap guys in and out. Maybe you could put someone like an Owen Casey in here. But I know Cubs fans love Owen Casey. So, and just to add in here, Kevin Alcantara would be the number 4 prospect, and Moises Ballesteros would be the number 7. But I feel like at the end of the day, the Cubs do have the pieces to get something done if they wanted to. Let's go on to the next team. How about Jesus Luzardo on the defending champion Texas Rangers? I know they just won a World Series, but they still got a lot of beef on this team, and they could easily go run it back. They got a lot of good players in this lineup still. You got a lot of good young players coming up as well, but they could use some pitching, both in the rotation and the bullpen. But the rotation definitely has some question marks. Remember, Max Scherzer, he has a bad back. He's not going to be with the team on opening day. And Jordan Montgomery, yeah, you could bring him back. It is rumored that he will be going back to the Rangers, but what if that doesn't happen? Well, then you really need some pitching. And even if Jordan Montgomery does go back to the Rangers, I think there's still an argument that they could still add something for this rotation because Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray, Andrew Heaney, they've been injury risks in the last couple of years. So I think there's definitely an argument, even if you bring Montgomery back, to still add someone like Jesus Luzardo. Now, the trade that I came up with the Rangers and the Marlins, we got Sebastian Walcott, Justin Foscue, Ezekiel Duran, and Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter hasn't really been able to find his footing with the Texas Rangers high draft pick a couple of years ago. And look at what the Marlins have done with pitchers. Could you imagine Jack Leiter going to his dad's old team where he won a World Series? I think that'd be a pretty cool story. But the Marlins, with how they've been able to develop pitching, they could definitely do something with Jack Leiter. They did the same thing with Jesus Luzardo. Why not Jack Leiter? I think that would be an amazing story. But as for the other pieces here, now as a whole, this package could look a little light when you're comparing the numbers. Jack Leiter, he hasn't really been able to find his way in the minors, so that value has come down. Maybe you could switch him out. Maybe you could add another piece here. But I do like the pieces going back here for the Marlins. Justin Foscue, he's pretty much blocked, so you could definitely move him. Ezekiel Duran, this is a major league ready guy you could put on the team. He can play multiple positions, so I could see him finding a home easily in the Marlins lineup. And then you got a younger kid in Sebastian Walcott, who is projected to either be a shortstop, maybe third baseman down the road. But hey, he is far away, 17 years old. I know Rangers fans, they probably don't want to get rid of him, but maybe that's someone for the Marlins that could be a future star for them down the road. While the Rangers, they go for it. They add Jesus Luzardo, and it's not like you just have him for 1 year. You got him for the next 3 years, so that could be a nice addition for the Rangers. So overall, I do like this move. And just to recap the rankings here, we got Sebastian Walcott at number 3, Jack Leiter is number 5, and Foscue is number 6. How about Jesus Luzardo on the Boston Red Sox? I have been dreaming of this all offseason. I need this to happen. The Red Sox starting pitching was so bad last year, and now you don't got Chris Sale. Well, you didn't really know what Chris Sale was going to give you anyway this year, so I'm okay with him heading to the Braves, but now you really need some pitching. I mean, if you take a look at this rotation, sure, you added Lucas Giolito, but he was terrible in the second half last year. Even he said that himself. Brian Bayo, I'm excited for his future, but is he really a number one at this point. You got guys like Pivetta, Hout, Crawford, sure, respectable, but this rotation really needs something at the top. And I think Jesus Luzardo is a perfect fit. Craig Breslow has said if it takes dealing away some position player prospects to get a deal done, well, then you might have to do it. Well, we got some position player prospects for the Red Sox in the future. And if we go take a look at the trade that I put together. Now, I know Red Sox fans would absolutely hate to trade away Roman Anthony, one of the big three prospects. You got Marcelo Meyer, Roman Anthony, and Kyle Teal. If I were to trade one of those guys, I would love to keep all three. I absolutely would. But if there was one of those guys that I'd be willing to deal, it would be Roman Anthony. Had an amazing year in the minor leagues last year. He really came out of nowhere, and he is looking amazing. A really good season. He's now the number 35 overall prospect in the top 100. So I can understand, the frustration if the Red Sox did deal him. But that is someone who would make up a lot of value here. And the Marlins have liked Ceddanne Rafaela in the past, so that could be someone they send there as well. He's like a fringe major league ready guy right now, so I could see that. And Nick York, who's basically blocked now because the Red Sox have Vaughn Grissom. If the Marlins maybe wanted something a little different, maybe you could do a package of a major league ready player in Jarren Duran, as well as Nick York. You could still send Ceddanne Rafaela and a pitching prospect in Wickelman Gonzalez. So the Red Sox, there is some flexibility here, and there is the motivation to add a starting pitcher. Will it maybe be a little too out of the price range for the Red Sox? It seems like maybe they're trying to be a bit more conservative this offseason. I don't know. But to me, this is a guy I feel like you got to add. But I got one more team who I think actually could be a better fit. Let's go talk about him. And that team is the Baltimore Orioles. They had an amazing season last year, winning 101 games. Sure, they got swept out of the playoffs by the eventual World Series champion Rangers, but this team doesn't look like they're slowing down anytime soon. They have so much young talent on this team. I mean, this lineup is stacked. You got Gunnar Henderson. You got Adley Rutschman. You got Jackson Holliday coming up, one of the top prospects in the game. My goodness, you have so much talent in this lineup. I do think, though, this rotation could use a little something. Listen, I like Kyle Bradish. I like Grayson Rodriguez here. I like John Means, Kramer, in the middle there. Maybe Cole Irvin. You could bump him to a bullpen role. But if you could add Jesus Luzardo as your number one, Bradish as your number two, Grayson Rodriguez as the three, Means as the four, Kramer as the five, that is a really good rotation. You already have a really good bullpen. Sure, you're not going to have Felix Bautista, but you brought in Craig Kimbrell. I know he gives people heart attacks. He gives me heart attacks. He's not even on the Red Sox anymore, but still a veteran guy, and you still have some talent in this bullpen as well. I mean, my goodness, if Jesus Luzardo was on this team, that would be phenomenal. And you know what the Orioles got? I already said it, young talent, not just on the major league team, but in the farm system as well. And if we take a look at the trade that I put together, I have Luzardo going to the Orioles, Jordan Westburg headlining the package back to the Marlins, Heston Kjerstad, Joey Ortiz, and Cade Povich. And actually, I think Joey Ortiz would be the key to this deal because the Marlins, they don't really have a shortstop in the near future they can turn to. So I actually think he could be the key piece in this deal. But you would still have to add some beef like Jordan Westburg, probably, maybe not Heston Kjerstad. Maybe you could swap him out with someone else. Cade Povich as well. That could be, swapped out. But the point is that the Orioles have a lot of prospects they can deal. And remember earlier I said in the video, the Marlins don't have a lot of young bats in their system. Well, the Orioles, they're the opposite. They have a lot of young bats, but not a lot of pitching, while the Marlins have a lot of pitching. So I think they match up very well here because organizationally they have different needs. So I think they're perfect for each other. Now, if we take a look at the prospect rankings in this trade that I put together, you got Heston Kjerstad at number 3. Jordan Westburg is already major league ready, so that's why I think he could be a good bat for the Marlins as well. And Joey Ortiz, I think that would be a really solid addition here. When it comes to Joey Ortiz, he's the number 6 prospect as of right now, and Povich is number 11. Again, you could switch out some of these guys. The point is the Orioles have a ton of bats in their system to get a deal done. I think they're just perfect for each other, to be completely honest. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. Where do you think Jesus Luzardo goes? Do you think he even gets traded? Do you think he just stays with the Marlins? I don't know. I think he ends up going somewhere. That's just me. But let me know what you think down below in the comments. What do you think of the trades that I put together? What are some trades that you would put together? That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the trades that you would put together. So make sure you put those in the comments for me. But that's all I have for right now, everyone. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.